And out of the corner of my eye, I saw an old woman in a black dress come from the top of the stairs, and I could see her through the doorway over there where the payphone is, where all the food is. And I caught her out of the corner of my eye, turned to look, and I didn't take my eyes off that wall, and I expected her to walk into the kitchen, and I would see her through that window. Well, I didn't see anybody, so I got up, I walked over, I figured she was on the payphone, and there was nobody there. I went downstairs to the first floor, asked people who were playing pool, did you see a woman come in here? No, no one saw her. 2 nights later, I was the only person in the building. All the lights were off on all the floors except the first floor, and I was back in the back where the ping pong table is, checking the fire escape door to make sure it was latched properly. And as I turned, I could swear I saw the front door swinging shut, and an old woman in a black dress stepping up onto that landing at the bottom of the stairs, and she disappeared into the stairwell. And I yelled, "Hey, I'm closing." And I zoomed down there 5 seconds, expecting to find the woman standing at the bottom of the stairs, and there was nobody there. I actually got a pool stick. I was a little bit nervous now, and I went through the building room by room because I thought she'd come upstairs. I thought, what the hell? Why would she do this? I looked in closets. I looked, everywhere. Not a trace of her. The third time I saw her was about a week later. I was on the second floor. In those days, it was long before computers. We have a computer room downstairs and guitars. I was, again, closing the building up, and I saw her walk by on the stairway landing. Now I stepped out right behind her. Not a trace of her. Went downstairs. There were still people here. No one had seen her. So 3 times I thought I saw a woman with a black dress. About 3 days later, in those days, we used to have a couple of young men, 18, 19 years old, who worked here as volunteers. We still have some these days. But this young man named Pat Knowlton had his own key. And I came in here one day, and also in those days, all these lights used to go on with one switch. We have to do it now individually because of fire concerns. One switch, you turn on all the lights. And I unlocked the door, I came in, I came upstairs, I'd hit that one switch, all these lights came on, it was January, dark at 4 o'clock, and there was someone sitting on the couch over here, and it startled me, and it was our friend Pat Knowlton. And I said, "Pat, what are you doing here?" And he said, "You're not going to believe this, but a couple nights ago when I told you to go home early and I was closing up, I could swear I saw a woman in a black dress walking around inside the building." And he said, "I've actually seen her 3 times. And I said, "I do believe you, Pat, because I've seen her too." So now we're putting our heads together. We've seen this woman 6 times between us. Well, that weekend, the Irish band U2 happened to be playing their first tour ever of America. They were playing at a bar in East Syracuse. And we treated a young woman who lived here in the village. It was her 18th birthday. We took her to the bar, not to drink, but to see the band U2. And now kids around the township are talking about the township ghost because they've heard that Pat and I saw someone. So we came into the village around 3 in the morning because at the bar U2 got done around 2 o'clock, and we actually hung out with Bono and The Edge for a while, and then we came here. And Patty Dorado said, I want to see if the township ghost is there. So we drove around back, not expecting to see anything, and lo and behold, the TV was glowing. We could see the light of the TV out the fire escape door. And we thought, shit, somebody's in the building. We're not even open. So Patty said, "I'm not going in there." And we said, "You're damn right you're not." We made her stay in the van, and we parked the van out back. We told her to keep an eye on the fire escape. And so Pat and I unlocked the door. We came in very quietly. We got baseball bats that used to be in a storage area down by the ping pong table. And we came up the stairs really quietly with baseball bats at 3 a.m. And sure enough, we could hear the sound of the TV softly playing. And our hearts were beating fast, and we stood there outside in the hallway, and we went like this, 2, 3, and we burst in. We went, "Ah!" And it was this kid who lived here on Mechanic Street named Chuck Murray, and he was asleep on the couch, and he literally pooped his pants. Suddenly the room was overwhelmed with the smell of poop. And meanwhile, Pat and I were so happy that it wasn't a woman with fangs and a black dress that we were glad to see him. And he was thinking we were going to throttle him with baseball bats. And finally we said, Chuck, what are you doing in here? And it turns out he'd had a fight with his family. His dad had kicked him out. It's January, and he had no place to go. And he was a little bit of a hoodlum. I mean, he knew how to break into things, and he had come up our fire escape with a screwdriver, and he didn't come in here to vandalize or to steal. He just needed a place to sleep. He hadn't heard the ghost story. He probably wouldn't have picked this place. So we were so happy it was him, and we didn't hurt him or anything, but we said, you can't stay here. Pat took him to his home in Warner's. We gave him clean clothes. We made him take a shower. And that's the last time we saw the woman in the black dress. Now, just a couple weeks later, a fire chief here in the village, some of the Rachland boys will know her, Belle Brown, Onondaga Nation. She and her husband Ray were both longtime fire chiefs back in the earliest days of the township. And she walked by one day. She said, how are things going? And I told her the story about the ghost. And she said, of course, that's the woman who died on the second floor. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, well, there used to be apartments on the second floor of this building back in the late 1960s. This place opened in 1971. And she said that in those days, and it was actually Kyle and Jared's grandfather was the village milkman, they used to deliver milk to your door. And he had noticed that he came back to deliver milk, and this woman who lived alone hadn't even gotten the milk that he had left a week earlier. And plus, there was starting to be an odor out in the hallway. And so he notified the fire department. The fire department came. They broke into the apartment. They found that the woman had died in her sleep, had been dead for over a week, down on the second floor. Actually, her bedroom was the computer room. So someone died in the building. Belle is sure that's the ghost we were seeing. And that's my story. So.